Okay, good morning everyone. We are on Amud Aleph on the top, in the middle of the Mishnah. The Mishnah was discussing mixing the blood of whole animals with Bali Mumin, and then it was talking about mixing blood that's supposed to be applied underneath the red line, which is regular blood, with blood that's supposed to be applied above the red line, which is the dam of the chatas. There's a discussion between Rabbi Eliezer and Chachamim and Machlokes in these two cases. Hanitanin b'matana achas shenisarvu b'nitanin b'matana achas. If you have two different bloods, like Rashi says, the dam of Bechor with dam Meiser, and they mix together, and each one of them is supposed to be applied once on the Mizbeach, yinatnu b'matana achas. You should go ahead and you should put one application. Rashi points out that the assumption in the Gemara is that yesh bila. We're going to talk about that today. Yesh bila or ein bila. Yesh bila means that there's mixing. You assume that the two bloods mix together, and in every drop of blood, there's a piece of that one and a piece of that one. And ein bila means that there's a possibility that when you apply the blood, they're totally separate, and you may only be getting blood of one of them. So if you say yesh bila, that in every drop of blood, there's a combination of the two. So if you do one application, then for sure you got a piece of this one and a piece of that one, and you are good to go. Matan arba b'matan arba. If you have the dam of an ola, dam of shlamim, or dam of asham that mix with each other, those have to be applied 4 times, really twice on the two corners, so you cover 4 times, and it mixes with the dam of another one that needs to be applied 4 times. Yinatnu b'matan arba, again, you go ahead and you do 4 applications, 2 times 2, because again, each application has both of the bloods in it, and therefore, when you do 4 applications, you had all of the bloods included. Matan arba b'matan achas. Here's a question: when you have the dam of an ola that mixes with the dam of a bechor, so now the dam of a bechor can only has to be applied once. The dam of the ola has to be applied 4 times. What do you do? Rabbi Eliezer Omer, yinatnu b'matan arba. You apply it 4 times. Rabbi Yeshua Omer, yinatnu b'matan achas. You apply it only once. Amar lo Rabbi Eliezer, rehu over al bal tigra. You're lessening the amount that you need to go ahead and apply for the ola. For the one that has to be applied 4 times, you're only applying it once. Amar lo Rabbi Yeshua, rehu over al bal tosif. You're being bal tosif. On the one that only has to be applied once, if you apply 4 applications, you're doing too many. I only hold that bal tosif is when it's by itself. If I have just hadassim or just aravos and I put on too many, that's bal tosif. But if I have a mixture and I do too many, so that's not, because when I do the mixture, so you're not necessarily knowing that I'm doing it for the bechor. You think that I'm doing it for something else. You don't see the ola blood. If I had a container that said bechor on it, then that's bal tosif when it's by itself. But if I go in and have a mixture, so then I assume that the other one is that all the other applications are for the one that needs 4 times. Amalei Rabbi Yeshua lo nemar bal tigra lo kashu b'atzmo. Okay, you told me that, then I'll tell you this. Also, it's not bal tigra unless it's by itself. V'odem Rabbi Yeshua says, and I have another one for you. Kishenatarta avarta bal tosif asita masi b'yadecha. Kishelonatata avarta bal tigra v'lo asita masi b'yadecha. Now it's interesting. Rabbi Eliezer will hold, as we know, that b'di'eved, the one that has to be applied 4 times, if it's applied once, you're yotzei. So Rabbi Yeshua is saying, I'm picking the lesser of the 2 evils. I have a choice now. I can either apply it once, and then I did what I was supposed to do for the dam of the bechor, for an example, but I didn't do what I was supposed to do for the dam of the ola, the asham, the shlamim, even though I was yotzei zayin. But when I did bal tigra on that one, if I did bal tigra on that one, which seemingly I did, it was a passive bal tigra. It was sheva al taseh. I didn't do anything. I just did bal tigra. I didn't do as much as I was supposed to do. According to you, where you're going ahead and saying that you need 4 applications, so yes, you're being yotzei the application for the ola, you're being yotzei the application for the bechor, but now, what are you doing? You're being yotzei the application for the ola, I'm sorry, but now you're doing a maisa, and you're doing bal tosif on the dam that only needs to be applied once, and you're applying it 3 extra times on the mizbeach. That you're better off not doing. So yes, I agree, bal tigra, bal tosif, they don't, whatever, however you want to say for yourself, I'll say for myself. But the reason that I say to sit down and not to do it is because better sheva al taseh, we have this all the time, better to sit and not do anything, let it passively happen, the wrong thing by itself, than to actively do it by myself. And Rabbi Yeshua doesn't answer him. Rabbi Eliezer doesn't answer him, but Rabbi Eliezer would clearly say that it's still better to do all 4. Amar Rabbi Eliezer. So now we're going to go back to our Mishnah. Our Mishnah again said, you have to hold cup today. That means you have to pay attention. Our Mishnah says that if you have unblemished blood that mixes with blemished blood, you spill it to the Amma. And if you have 2 cups, so then you can go ahead, and Rabbi Eliezer says you can go ahead, and if you brought 1 cup, then you can assume that that's the bad one, and then you can bring all the other cups, and Chachamim say, even if you bring all of them and all you have is one cup left, you have to spill it out. So Rabbi Eliezer, this is Rabbi Elazar and Rabbi Eliezer. Rabbi Eliezer, if you remember the case that we had with the wine on the boat, it says that when I say you can keep it, you can only keep it if you do 2 at a time. Because then at least I know that in each zug, in each pair, one of them is valid. So if I go ahead and I spill 2 kosos at a time, 2 cups at a time, at least one of them is valid. That combined with the fact that the whole thing is only gzeira in the first place, because again, we were saying that you have more unblemished than blemished blood, and the fact that, l'maisa, you can go ahead and say that the one that fell overboard or the one that was poured already is the aser one, and you used it up. All those things taken together, therefore, l'maisa, you can do 2 by 2 by 2.
Does that mean the Kohen has to hold both cups in his hand, right hand simultaneously?
None of it has to hold both in the right hand simultaneously, but he has to pour both of them at the same time.
But if he pours the left hand, it's not kosher.
So then he holds both in the right hand simultaneously.
You can't mix them, right?
He doesn't mix them specifically, no.
Right.
The question is, the Chachamim clearly said if you only have one left, you pour it down the drain. That implies that Rabbi Eliezer would say, if you only have one left, what do you do with it? You can bring it. How can you bring only one left? You just told me you have to bring pair by pair by pair. So you're right. When it says I only have one left, it doesn't mean you only have one cup left. It means you only have one pair left. But in Echnami, even he would agree that if you only have one cup left, you cannot pour it because you need to bring 2 by 2 by 2. Okay, new case. Utzricha, and you need both. What's utzricha? So Rashi points out that this was talking about a machlokas by the dam. When you have the dam of the mumin and the dam of the regular, it says machlokas, you have to spill it out, or can you go ahead and if one cup is brought, you can bring the rest. We have the same machlokas by the evarim. If you have a mixture of evarim, of bali mumin and regular, it's the same machlokas. So the Gemara says, what do you need both machlokim for? Says the Gemara, I need both machlokim di'i et marbaha baha kam Rabbi Eliezer mishum dis avid be kaparaso aval baha ema modulo l'rabanan. Again, Rabbi Eliezer is the one who said you can go ahead and you can pour the cup, assuming that you have 2 of them, and you can go ahead and you can pour the cup on the mizbeach, assuming one of them is already poured, fine. But l'maisa, you need both, because he might tell you, if you only learned the one by the evarim, he might say the reason that you can burn the evarim after the fact is because you already did the major part of the avoda. What was the major part of the avoda? The zrika of the dam. So now when the evarim become mixed up, what's the big deal if you bring the evarim on the mizbeach? As long as you do it in this way, what's the big deal if you bring the evarim on the mizbeach? But by the blood, you might think that what? The Rabbi Eliezer would agree with the Rabbanan, that by the blood, when they become mixed, or when you have the cups, you can't go ahead and lechatchila bring the blood. Kamash Malani holds, even by the blood you could bring it. And if you would go the other way, V'i Idmar Baha, if you would tell me that by the blood, Rabbi Eliezer disagrees, you would say only by the blood, which is the main kapara, Rabbanan, disagree. But by the Evarim, where the blood's already been thrown, they would say, the Evarim, okay, do whatever you want. Kamash Malan, that by the Evarim, they don't say do whatever you want either. Idmar Baha, Ba'akami, Rabbanav al-Baha, by the Evarim, Ema Modul, Rabbi Eliezer, do whatever you want. Sricha, they hold their opinions across the board, and it doesn't matter, Bein Evarim, Bein blood, you have to follow whatever their opinion is. Tanan Hasam. Tzlucha shanafu l'tocha mayim kolshu. Put on your thinking caps. You have a flask of chatas water, which again is ashes of the paraduma, and a little bit of water, regular water, falls in. So they have a mixture of regular water and chatas water, and they have to sprinkle it onto the person that needs the paraduma. Well, the question is, do you have a shear? Do you have enough of the paraduma water, the mechatas? Rabbi Eliezer mer yazeh shtei hazos. So what you do is you sprinkle twice at each time. So that means on day number 1, you need to sprinkle twice already, in the morning and in the afternoon. Day 7, you do the morning and the afternoon. I mean, each time you sprinkle, instead of doing a total of 4, you're doing a total of 8. You're doing in the morning of day number 1 twice, afternoon of day number 1 twice, morning of day number 7 twice, afternoon of day number 7 twice. Says the Gemara, what do the Chachamim say? Poslan. Even if you do it twice, it's possible. What's going on over here? Bishlama Rabbanan Savra Yesh Bila. Again, the Rabbanan say that we blend the two. So you have a blend of mechatas and regular water, which is possible to use for this occasion. V'hazat tzri chashir. So there's going to be 3 different things to take in mind. First of all, there's blending. So now this mixture is a blended. Each application, each hazah, is going to be part mechatas and part water. V'hazat tzri chashir. And you need a certain amount of shear in order to go ahead and be yotze. So let's say you need a kazayas, just as an example. Ve'ein mitztarfin lahazos. And you can't mix the hazos. So what do? So it's a problem, because at the end of the day, again, you're doing one application, and you're doing the application, let's say, of a kazayas. Now, you can mix two applications and say, well, I had enough in the first and the second one together. So I'm doing an application of a kazayas. I need a kazayas of mechatas, but I also hold that there's blending, and in each application, there's part mechatas and part regular water. So even if there's only a little bit of regular water, at the end of the day, I have not enough of a shear of mechatas to put onto the person, and therefore, lemaisa is going to be still tameh, because if I apply again, I can't say, well, I had enough in that one with this one, because you can't combine the two of them. So again,
the assumption has to be that when you put the hyssop into the container to get the water,
you're putting in you're getting in exactly the amount that you would need to be yotzei. You're taking out exactly the amount that you would need. So yesh bila, there is blending. You need a shear, and over here you have exactly a kazayas, just as an example. But that kazayas is even if it's 0.0001 of water, regular water, it's not enough. It's not a kazayas of mechatas. And aim it's starfin lazos, you can't go ahead and mix the second one with the first one. El Rabbi Eliezer Ma'ikasavar. So I understand why the Chamim say posel. Rabbi Eliezer, what's the story with this two hazos? Ikasavar ein bila. If he holds that there's no mixing, kimaza shte hazos ma'have dilma tavayu maya kamazi. I understand. If he holds that we don't hold the blending, and when you take out a thing of water, it could be totally mechatas or totally regular water. So what does 2 do? Even 10 is not going to accomplish anything. Again, we'll see in a second, depending how much mechatas and how much regular water you have. But assuming you have a nice mixture of both, so what's 2 going to do? Maybe the first time you did it, it was regular water, and the second time you did it, it was regular water, and you don't have enough of anything. Ela kasavar yesh bila. He must hold that there is blending. Therefore, every one of the applications has some mechatas and some regular. Ikasavar ein hazat tzricha shir lama li shtei hazos. Now, if you hold yesh bila, and hazah doesn't need a shear, and even a tiny amount of mechatas is enough, then you're good to go. Because you say yesh bila, in every single one of the applications is at least a little bit of mechatas. You don't need a minimum amount of mechatas, and therefore you're good to go. Clearly the fact that he holds that you need 2 hazos shows that we hold that you need a shear. Says the Gemara, so now you know that there's yesh bila, and you need a shear. Ela kesavar hazah tzricha shear. V'ikasavar ein mitzarfen lazos ki maza shtei hazos ma'have. Now if you say yesh bila, but you need a shear, so doing it twice doesn't help either, because it might be 99% mei psulin, and then if you do it twice, you only have 1% and 1%. That's not going to be enough of a shear, even though you can combine the, since you can't combine the two. V'inami mitzarfen lazos mi'emar demali lashira. You can't combine the two, and even if you can combine the two, how do you know that you didn't put 99% regular water the first time and 99% regular water the second time? And even if you combine the two, you only have 2% of the amount that you need for the mechatas. So there's going to be 3 answers how you understand Rabbi Eliezer. Again, Chachamim make a lot of sense. Chachamim will just say that yesh bila, and you need a shear, and you can't mix them. But we're saying even according to Rabbi Eliezer, if you say that he says yesh bila, and you need a shear, now, whether you say mix them or not, it doesn't make sense. If you can mix the 2 shiurim, who says you have enough? And if you can't mix the 2 shiurim, for sure you don't have enough. So what's going on? Says the Gemara 3 answers. Amar Reish Lakish. Again, this is within the explanation of Rabbi Eliezer, that you have mayim that falls into mechatas, and you go in and you do 2 hazos. Amar Reish Lakish. La'olam yesh bila. We mix the 2. V'hazah tzricha shir. And you need a shear. What's the problem? So now the question is, are they mitzaref or not? Well, it doesn't matter, we said. Whether they're mitzaref or not, you don't know that you have enough. You have 1 kazayis of regular with exactly 1 kazayis, not 1 to 1. You have 1 kazayis with 1 kazayis. So what do? So I have 1 kazayis, assuming that, like you were saying, Rabbi, that you would put in the hyssop and you would take it. You would get out that whole kazayis with the hyssop. Again, I'm just using kazayis as an example. So I have 1 kazayis of mechatas and 1 kazayis of non-mechatas mixed together. So what do? I put in the hyssop once. If I take it and I apply it, so what do I get? I took out half of that pile. So I applied half the pile. Now the problem is that half of the pile might have been the entire amount of non-mechatas water.
Why is it half?
What do you mean? I have a cup.
Yeah, but the cup has to have 8 times that amount.
No, I have a cup now.
4 times that amount.
No, I have a cup, and I need a total, sprinkled on you, I need a total of 1 kazayis of mechatas. In this mixed cup, I have 1 kazayis of mechatas and 1 kazayis of non-mechatas in this cup. So if I sprinkle it once, then it's possible that I got the 1 kazayis of non-mechatas. But if I sprinkle it twice, so we assumed in the original case, before we brought this, we assumed you had a big thing, and it's mixed and it's half and half, and you have 50 liters of this and 50 liters of that. So even if I sprinkle it 5 times, maybe every time I'm sprinkling you, I'm getting from the non-mechatas water. Even if you say yesh bila, most of it is the non-mechatas water. But if I have 1 and 1, then even if you want to say that the first time I did it, I got all of the non-mechatas water, the second time that I do it, which is all that's left in the cup, and I sprinkle it again, I got the mechatas water. So at least the second time, even if you say mitzdarif or ein mitzdarif, whatever you say, well, even if you have to say mitzdarif, because then the first time I could have gotten 99% and 1%, and then I didn't get enough, and the second time I didn't get enough either. But if you say yesh bila, that every single sprinkling has part and part, and I say that mitzdarfin, and you need a shear, so when I combine the two of them, I've applied the entire cup. And within that cup was the requisite amount of mechatas that you needed. When I combined the two of them, you clearly got enough mechatas on your body at the time.
Just a point of clarification.
Yeah.
Did you say before that part of the machlokas is that whether you have to do it 4 times or 8 times, or lezer, so you have to do it 8 times?
That was by the application of the blood. That was by the application of the blood on the
don't do it this.
on the mizbeach. That's not the hazah. This is hazah of the par. Yeah, no. That's talking. This is talking about the paraduma. We're talking about the matana achas of the blood that goes onto the corners of the mizbeach. On the top, hanitanim b'matana achas. What do you mean? We're talking about the blood.
No,
We said.
now. What are we talking about now?
Yeah. Now we're talking about the paraduma. We're not talking about 8 times.
And how many times do you have to sprinkle?
Oh, 1 second. No, you have to sprinkle 8 times. I'm saying you have to sprinkle 2 hazos each time.
Correct. Right.
So what we're saying here is that you have to have so the Gemara is saying you basically have what you have here is you have an application of, well, again, I was giving an example, but if you have 3 good things of mechatas for the other 3 days, and you're not sprinkling 8 times.
That's my question. My question
No.
is what's in that cup?
Enough
for 4? Or
No. So the Gemara is saying in that cup is enough for 1 time. In that cup is 2 kazesim of water.
Or can you
What
say-
might happen? You might have another mixture of 2 kazesim in the afternoon, but assuming that you have mechatas for the afternoon, then you're going to sprinkle once in the afternoon and once to
Question's about
7.
one
Question is each
hazah.
individual, right?
One
One hazah. So you have 1 time. And right now I need to sprinkle you on day 1 in the morning. I have a cup of 2 kazesim, 1 kazayis of regular, 1 kazayis of thing. I sprinkle twice and I'm good to go.
You wouldn't be saying to do it twice each day.
Well, again, I would only be. That's what you're saying. I was only saying to do it twice each day if every day you have a mixture of water.
Right.
If you have the same case every single day. But if in the afternoon that day I have a whole container of mechatas, obviously I'm only going to apply it once. We're talking about that each individual time you have to apply is a separate thing. But in the worst case scenario, where for whatever reason all of your mechatas is mixed with all of your waters, that's what I meant. No.
So when they pour out a little bit, and then the rest for sure is going to be.
Because if they pour out a little bit, then you might have poured out a little bit of the mechatas, and now you don't have enough mechatas in the thing.
Oh, depends on the shear.
Depends on the shear over here. Says the Gemara, that was Reish Lakish. So again, you assume that it's mixture. You need to have a shear. So you need to have the entire kazayis of, you have to have a kazayis of mechatas. And again, we can assume that you have exactly 1-to-1, 1 kazayis and 1 kazayis. Therefore, when you do it twice, by definition, you used up all the water. And within that water, you used up a kazayis of mechatas. Rav Amar, la'olam yesh bila. You have bila. V'hazah ein tzrich hashir. And you don't need a shear. So I understand, if you have bila that it mixed and you don't need a shear, so why do I have to do it twice? If I do it once, then at least part of that water was mechatas and I'm good to go. Says the Gemara, uknasa de kansu rabbanan kihechi de lo mishtarish lei. It's a knas, according to Rabbi Zev. You only need once. And you're a yotzei. But what I don't want you doing is I don't want you being one of these guys who dilutes your stuff. So I don't want you to dilute your mechatas, because what would you do? If you think that yesh bila and you don't need a shear, then what I would do, I'd have a little bit of mechatas, and I'm thinking like the rabbi now, I need to use it 4 times. So what do? I only have enough for 1 application. I'll pour water in there, and now I can use it 4 times. Because each time we would say yesh bila, at least a small part of it is mechatas, even 1%. Ein sarich shear, I don't need a shear, and I can do it. So as a punishment, or as a penalty, in case you're going to go ahead, gzeira, that you might go ahead and do it. So lemaisa, if any water mixes in, you have to do it twice.
What's the penalty in a sense?
Penalty that you have to do it twice.
So what?
You run out of supply quicker.
So what? Who's being punished?
The person that's doing it.
The next cow.
Well, no, but the thing is, the person who's doing it's not being punished. He just doesn't have enough mechatas, unless he charges ohip for each time or something.
Okay, but again, the point is that, I hear what you're saying, because if you would just pour in a whole thing of, if you pour in 5 liters of water, so then he's still, the point is that we're going to give him a knas, and we're going to say you need to do it twice, and everybody's going to see that you're doing it twice, and people are going to know that you're, okay. So lemaisa, again, you'll have to explain yourself. Are you doing it because it fell in? Are you doing it because you're the type of guy? If every single time you're doing it twice, we're going to start catching on that the water is not just falling in every single time you do the mechatas. If you're the mechata supplier, clearly you're going ahead and you're diluting it. Rav Ashi Amar, Rav Ashi gives a very interesting answer. He says, Ein bila, so there's no bila. Yazesh shtei hazos, and you do it twice. Now that's going to be interesting, because what is he holding? Raji says there's no bila. Well, if there's no bila, which means that there's no guarantee that every time you do it, you're getting a little bit of both. So how does twice help? There's no bila. Now when I take the first application and I do it, that could be totally mayim psulim, or regular water. When I do the second application and I do it, it could also be mayim psulim. How does that help? Look at Rashi. It's the third wide line. Rav Ashi Amar, Hagirsa hazu mishubeshes bisvarim. Rashi says the girsa we have in our Gemara is wrong. V'nira be'enai dahachi garsina. Need to add a few words. Rav Ashi Amar, mayim kol shehu tnan. You see it? It's the fourth line. Rav Ashi says, look at the case that you're dealing with. What's the case? Tzlucha shenaflu litocha mayim kol shehu. You're right, if a lot of water fell in, then you may not have a suggestion, you may not have a solution. But if I have a whole bucket of mechatas, and one drop of non-mechatas falls in, then I'm good to go. Ve'ein bila, they don't combine. Yazesh shtei azos. So how does two azos help me now, Rabbi Eliezer? Usfir leil Rav Ashi haza ein tzricha shir kirava. You don't need a shear. Even a koldu is enough. Umiu knas lesli, but there's no knas. Hilkach ihava sfira le yesh bila bechada hava sagile. If you would say yesh bila and you have chatas with a tiny bit of non-chatas water and it mixes together and you just need a tiny amount, you just need no shear, then I could dip in once. Why does he hold twice? Ushtei hazot Rabbi Eliezer mishum de kasavar ein bila. And therefore the first time, how much am I getting? I'm not getting a kazayis the first time. When I stick in the hitzah, how much am I getting? A kol shehu. What might that kol shehu be? That kol shehu might have been, in the worst case scenario, the non-kosher water. Hilkach imidi chada shema ein kan min haksherin klum. If I only do it once, I might just be getting the non-kosher water. However, aval kimidi tarti afshar deleka bechada minayu min haksherin deha kan min apsulan ela kol shehu. He's saying you're missing the most important two words, kol shehu. If more than a kol shehu of water goes in, for sure, you might be stuck. Because even if you do it 10 times, every single time, you might be getting the non-kosher water. But if only one drop goes in, then when I take out at least one drop. So when I put in the hyssop and I take out a drop, even if you want to argue that that entire drop was the puzzle water, when I do it again, all that's left by definition is the mechatas, and therefore I'm good to go. So even if you say ein bila, because if you say yesh bila, then you're stuck. Because then you can say that when I did it the first time, it was 50% or 40% of bad and 40% of good, or 60% of good, and then the opposite, etc. So you say ein bila, they don't mix, you do it twice, and you're good to go. They don't mix, you dip it once, even in the worst case scenario, you got the kol shehu of bad water out. Then when you go ahead and you do it again, you get, for sure, the good water. So that's Reish Lakish, Rava, and Rav Ashi. Zog the Gemara, Meisvei. We have a kasha. Poor Rav Ashi. We're going to ask a lot of kashas in him. But first we're going to ask a quick kasha on Reish Lakish. We'll ask two kashas from the same brisa. Rabbi Omer, Div Rabbi Eliezer, Hazah kol shehu mitaheres. According to Rabbi Eliezer, a tiny amount is enough. Hazah ein tzricha shir. Hazah mechsa kasher mechsa pasel. Therefore, if you have half and half, it's going to be kasher. But you clearly see here that the Bryce is telling me that hazah ein tzricha shir. According to Reish Lakish, you have bila. I know it's hard to follow, but you have bila. You need a shear. And we said, how's it going to help you at the end of the day if you do it? We said it's exactly 1 and 1. But either way, it's a kasha on Reish Lakish because he clearly said that hazah needs a shear, and over here, hazah ein tzricha shir. That's the kasha on Reish Lakish. Ve'otanya behedya, and then we have a kasha on Rav Ashi as well. Again, Rav Ashi says ein bila, and therefore you need 2 azos because it was only mayim kol shehu. Ve'otanya behedya, hanitanin lemala, shenisarvu benitanin lemata, Rabbi Eliezer omer yitain lemala v'atachtonim halulu. Let's forget about Reish Lakish for a second because I don't want to get confused. Let's concentrate on Rav Ashi. Rav Ashi again says, what do you have? You had a whole pitcher of mechatas. A tiny amount of regular water fell in. He holds ein bila. They don't combine. Therefore, Rabbi Eliezer says you need to do it twice. According to Rabbanan, you'll say yesh bila, and therefore you're not going to be able to do anything. Fine. According to Rabbi Eliezer, within Rabbi Eliezer, he's going to say ein bila. They don't combine. Therefore, you have to stick in the hyssop twice. You stick it in once and you apply it. It might have been, we don't know, but it might have been kulo, the kol shehu of non-kosher water. Therefore, you earned yotzei. When you do it again, for sure you were yotzei. Fine. That's Rabbi Eliezer. Problem is, now we have this brisa which says that if I have a mixture of things that need to be applied above the line and and below the line, what's that? Chatas dam and anything else. So I have a mixture of chatas dam which is applied above the line and non-chatas dam which is applied below the line. Rabbi Eliezer Omer, Yitain lamala. What do? I apply it above the line. V'hatachtonim alulo. And the bottom one counts. So it sounds like I applied above the line and then below the line, and I was yotzei both. I was yotzei the chatas and I was yotzei the ola, whatever it was. V'iyamart ein bila, but I understand. According to Rav Ashi explaining Rabbi Eliezer, he holds ein bila. The two things don't mix. So think about this for a second. What happens when I have a mixture of dam? I have a mixture of chatas dam and ola dam. What happens when I applied it above the line once? Which dam did I apply? I don't know. Maybe it was a chatas dam, but maybe it was the ola dam. And when I apply it once underneath the line, which one did I apply? Maybe the ola dam, which I was supposed to, but maybe the chatas dam. How can you go ahead and say that you were yotzei both korbanos? You should say that you were yotzei neither korban. If you say yesh bila, that the stuff blends, then you're yotzei both. When I did it on top, it was at least partly chatas. When I did it on the bottom, it was at least partly ola, and I'm good to go. But if you say ein bila, so how do you go ahead and guarantee that I did enough on the top, that I did any chatas on the top, and that I did any ola on the bottom? Says the Gemara, amai alulo, dilma kayoy vel yona lamata v'tachton and lamala. Maybe all the blood that went on top was the bottom blood, and all the blood that went on the bottom was the top blood. There's a question on ein bila, on it not mixing, on not blending. Says the Gemara, you're right. If it was just a simple case, you would say not yotzei. Hacha b'mayaskin, what must be the case here within Rabbi Eliezer to say that you're yotzei? Could go into ikar ruba elyonim v'kayahiv lemala shir tachtonim va'od. Wow. What do you have? A rove of the blood is elyon blood. You have 15 liters of elyon blood and 10 liters of ola blood. Again, 15 liters of chatas blood, which goes on top, and 10 liters of ola blood, which goes on the bottom. And what do? You put on top, how much you have to put on top to guarantee that you're getting chatas blood on top? 15 things of chatas blood and 10 liters of ola blood. How much do you have to put on the top? It's not a trick question. I have 15 kazesim of chatas blood and 10 kazesim of ola blood. How much blood do I need to put on top to guarantee that I put chatas blood on top?
More than 10.
More than 10. 10.1. So you have 15 of this and 10 of that. So what do? When it says that you're yotzei, you pour 10.1 on top. At least 0.1 of it is chatas blood. Now the only question is what? Hatachtonim alulo kitani. But I don't understand. Now when I pour the rest on the bottom, I pour the remaining 14.9. Maybe that entire thing is what? Maybe it's all chatas blood. Maybe I pour the entire 10 liters of ola on top, plus 0.1 of chatas, but maybe the remaining amount is all chatas, but why am I yotzei the ola? I understand I'm yotzei the top application, but why am I yotzei the ola? Says the Gemara, you're right, you're not. L'shem shirayim. When it says that you're yotzei the bottom one, it's only yotzei the shirayim, because memanashach, what am I doing with the leftover chatas blood after I apply it on top? I'm pouring it on the bottom anyway. So says the Gemara, it doesn't mean, according to Rabbi Eliezer, if you hold that ein bila, it doesn't mean that you're yotzei both. When it says hatachtonim alulo, it means you're yotzei the top application of the chatas, because I poured 10.1 on top, and even if the entire 10 of ola was used on top, at least 0.1 of the chatas was used. But in a chanami, when I poured the remainder on the bottom, yes, I was yotzei the shirayim of pouring the rest of the chatas on the bottom, but I wasn't yotzei the ola. If I had to bring a chatas and ola, I still owe an ola, because there's no way for me to guarantee that I didn't pour all chatas blood underneath the red line. So therefore, even if you say ein bila, you can still understand how this brisa works. It's very interesting stuff. Just complicated. Tashma, another question on poor Rav Ashi. Not on limata velo nimlach. If I put on the bottom without asking, because again, if I would have asked and I have this mixture, Rabbi Eliezer would have said what? Put on the top, and after you put on the top, then tachtonim is alulo, then put on the bottom. That's what we said. Yitain l'mal v'atatonim alulo. Let's say I didn't listen and I put some on the bottom first. Rabbi Eliezer mer yachser v'yitain l'mala. Then I should put on the top. V'hatachtonim alulo, and the bottom counts. I don't understand. Same question. If I go ahead and I say that I had a combination of ola blood and chatas blood, and I put on the bottom first, and I say ein bila, maybe all the stuff I put on the bottom was the chatas blood, and when I went on top, maybe all of it was ola blood. Why am I yotzei both, and why am I even yotzei one? Says the Gemara, hachanami berub el yodim v'kayov l'mala shir tachtonim v'od v'hatachtonim alulo kitani l'shem shirayim. So he's basically saying you do the same exact thing. Same answer. Tashma. Natan limala v'lo nimlach. Now, it's the same case, but now it's going to say something different. You put on top without asking, which is what you should have done to Rabbi Eliezer. Shouldn't have done that according to Rabbanan. He should have spilled it out. Elu ve'elu modim sheyachzer v'yitein lamata. Both of them agree you should put to the bottom. Ve'elu ve'elu alulo. Now that's not saying hatachtonim alulo. Tachtonim alulo, you can explain it as being shirayim. Elu ve'elu alulo sounds like you were yotze not only the chatas, but you were yotze the ola as well. And even if you're going to go ahead and say hachanami berub elyonim ve'kayayiv lamala shir tachtonim ve'od ve'ha'elu ve'elu alulo ketani. It says elu ve'elu. You can't explain that it means you were yotze the chatas and you were yotze the shirayim. Elu ve'elu sounds like you were yotze the chatas and you were yotze the ola. Why were you yotze the ola according to Rabbi Eliezer? If you say ein bila, maybe even if you put the 10.1 on top, maybe the entire bottom was all chatas blood. Mikitani elu ve'elu modim, elu ve'elu alulo kitani. Seifa san l'Rabbanan de amri yesh bila. Easy answer says, no, you're right. That's not going within Rabbi Eliezer. Rabbi Eliezer would say you're only yotze the top part. Elu ve'elu alulo, within the Rabbanan who say yesh bila. You should have spilled out the whole thing in the first place. But if you don't spill it out and you do what you're not supposed to do and you apply on top and on the bottom, you're yotze both. Because we say yesh bila, all the blood is blended. And when I put on top, for sure some of the blood was chatas blood. When I put on the bottom, for sure some of the blood was ola blood. And I'm good to go. And shalom al Yisrael. We'll finish with this. Tashma. Hanitani b'matana achas, shenisaru b'nitani b'matana achas, hinanu b'matana achas. We said that if you have regular blood, 2 regular bloods that have to be applied once, not a chatas ola and asham, which are applied 4 times. But if you have regular blood of a bechor, of mice, or whatever, that's applied 1 and 1, and they mix together, you do once. V'amart ein bila. But now we said the reason you could do it once is we assume because when you do it once, it has both of the dams in it, and you yotze both of the applications. But if you hold like Rabbi Eliezer that says ein bila, amayi nanu b'matana achas, dilma mehai kayav u'mehai lo kayav. I only understand if you have 2 things in it that have to be applied once, or the 2 things have to be applied 4 times, whatever it is. I only understand that you could apply it once and be yotze everything if I hold yesh bila. That if in every single application there's parts of both, therefore when I applied it once, I had both and I was yotze both. But if I say ein bila, the way that Rav Ashi is explaining Rabbi Eliezer, then at the end of the day when I apply only one from the mixture of the 1 and the 1, if I apply only one application, maybe it's kulo, one of the animals, and the other animal never got applied on the mizbeach. Says the Gemara, you're right. Kigonchen is arvu achas be'achas. You're right, it got mixed 1 to 1. And Rashi explains 6 lines from the bottom, achas be'achas, shir matana mizeh v'shir mizeh. Ukitani yinanu b'matana achas b'shvil kol echad ka'amar. Tahainu shtei matanos denimsu shtei b'mizbeach. You're right. You have to set up the case over there as being that you had enough, you had 2 shot glasses of blood. Each time you apply is a shot glass, and they were mixed together. And when it says that you do 1 hazah, you do really do 1 hazah twice. So in a chanami, you're basically using up all the blood in the cup. So you do it once, and you do it twice. And even if you say ein bila, then even if the first time was for the first animal, the second time, if you say ein bila, the bottom line is that when you say ein bila, it's much more complicated. If you say yesh bila, that there's blending, so that anytime you do anything, if you have to do 4 applications, you just do 4 applications, you assume that each application included both these animals. If you have to do 1 application and they're mixed, and you just do 1 application, you assume that it included both those animals. Once you start saying ein bila, which was again necessary because of the kasha that we had on Rabbi Eliezer for holding that you have shtei hazos. So once you have to get into your ein bila, which answers that question, now you're going to have to answer all these other questions. And again, you're going to have to set up every single case as being a unique case, because ein bila, unless you know for sure, like we set it up, that you used all of the blood plus a little bit more, if you say ein bila, you always have to be choshesh that the amount that you're putting on is kulo, the other korban. Finally, says in Gemara, matan arba be'amatan arba, achanami shenis arba arba ba'arba. Same thing. When I have 1 that needs to be applied 4 times, 1 that needs to be applied 4 times, if I say that I can apply it only 4 times, how could I apply it only 4 times? I have to assume that all 4 of those applications were only one of the korbanos. Says the Gemara, you're right. It means that you have exactly the same amount. You have 4 shot glasses of each. They're all mixed together, and therefore if you apply it 8 times, 4 and 4, then you'll end up using up all of the blood. It's a new case. We'll pick up here tomorrow.